course, the first thing I need to start off this is a headband. After that, I'm going to be using paper clay, and the difference between this clay and normal clay is that it dries and it's very, very light. So it's very useful for something like horns, which you don't really want to weigh a ton, especially if you're using an Alice band, because it'll just fall right off your head. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut out little blocks, and they've got to be about roughly the same size so that you don't have one horn which is a lot bigger than the other. And then I'm going to start sculpting them into the shape. The easiest way to do this is to get the longer horn and then slowly press away all the extra clay into a smaller horn. Now make sure that the bottom is at the right angle for the headband, and then once you've got the basic shape, you want to get a little pot of water and then either a sculpting tool or your fingers, and you're going to chip away some of the extra clay and then go over it with your fingers to smooth everything out. Once I feel like I've got the shape that I want and it's smooth enough, I'm going to go over with a really dense brush, and then I'm just going to press down over the brush and then run this up along the antlers just to give it a bit of texture. It's horns, you don't want it to be too smooth. Actual antlers aren't very smooth, they've still got these beautiful textures and lines where the antlers have grown over time, so you want to try and add that into the horns. Also, you can take the end of your brush and just at the bottom of the antlers you want to add little dimples at the very bottom. They can't be too smooth, there are these natural little dimples in antlers, so you want to recreate that. And if you don't want to use the end of a brush, you can use your fingers. Now you want to wait for these to dry. They took quite a long time to dry because they are quite thick. It took about a day to dry, but once they're dry we need to start tinting them. Now you can use watercolour or acrylic. I want to use my pan pastels for this, and I'm going to be using a variation of 3 different colours. I'm going to be using a cream colour, a dark brown like the one I'm using now, and then one which is more of a terracotta brown colour. Now I'm going to run these colours all over the horns. You want to have the cream colour, and that's going to be the base colour. It's going to go all over the antlers. The darker brown is going to be at the very bottom, and then you want to bring that up in a small angled art brush up the horns, but very, very lightly. And then I'm going to be using that terracotta brown, and just a little bit further up from the bottom, you want to bring that colour up the antlers. You want to stop just at the very midway. When you're quite close to the end of the tip of the horns, you want the tip of the horns to still be that cream colour, but that terracotta colour is going to be the colour which is going to be in between the cream and then the dark brown. And then at the very bottom we're going to be using a black, and you want to add little dots of this and then blend all those colours together. And I'm going to recreate this on the second antler, and I had to change the board I was working on just because these pan pastels are so pigmented. They were actually staining the marble that I was working on, so I needed a marble slat which was a little bit smoother. Once I've added all the colours, I'm going to go over it with that blending brush just to make sure that there's a soft gradient and nothing which is obviously painted on. And then with the antlers I'm going to be using a green pen just to mark out where I want it. You won't see the green, you'll just see the mark on the headband. It gives me a good reference point. I'm going to be using a glue gun to stick these down and then get the glue gun around the very bottom of the antlers so that there's a nice soft edge. We don't want it to suddenly go horn, bang, and then headband. You want there to be a nice curve going straight down into the headband. Once that's dried, I'm going to be taking those exact same pan pastels and I'm going to be covering the glue with it so that you don't get that shiny glue gun edge. We really don't want that. It's a little detail, but it makes a difference so that the end product is a lot more finished and polished than if you just left a shiny little piece of glue in between the antlers and the Alice band. After that, I'm going to finish with a matte clear spray, and that's it. You're done!